And from the current slide, we may have the stress-strain relationships, which automatically have been obtained through ANSYS. And after performing the stress analysis on this composite with a thickness, laminar thickness of 1 mm, 0.1 mm, because optimized value was 0.125. So in this way, we may exactly mapped these simulation results with the experimental results, as if you remember I had shown in the different videos. Now I would like to tell you about force and movement resultants related to midplane strains and curvature. I want to put some light on this, as the laminate comprises of different laminas, and lamina does have a bottom surface and the top surface. So as far as stacking sequence is there, we have to consider the bottom surface as well as the top surface distances from the midplane. So that's why this calculation has to be considered, and we have to take a midplane, and from that midplane the distances of bottom and the top surfaces of a lamina has to be considered, and at last we have to make a correlation in between the n number of plies or n number of the laminas with reference to the midplane. So in the coming session or the slides, we are going to pay emphasis on such facts. So here are the few points on which we have to discuss before establishing a relation in between the midplane and the different surfaces. Different surfaces does mean top and bottom surfaces of a lamina. First, the midplane strains and plate curvatures in equation are the unknown for finding the lamina strains and stresses. It does mean, if you remember the formula which we have been developed in between the epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy equals to epsilon naught x, epsilon naught y, gamma naught xy, and which was multiplied by the curvature that was being abbreviated by kappa. So in that kappa and the strains epsilon, so these are the unknowns. It means 3 unknowns in terms of kappa and 3 unknowns in terms of epsilon. So these 6 unknowns are to be find out by using the foregoing relations. Now the second point, the stresses in each lamina can be integrated through the laminate thickness to give resultant forces and moments, or applied forces and moments. So what does it mean? It means we have to build a relation in between the different stresses and the lamina or the laminate thicknesses in terms of forces and the moments which have been generated after put some load onto this laminate. In the third point, one simple thing is there. Whatever the forces and movements we are going to apply, those are obviously known to us, and with the help of forces and movements which have been correlated with the stresses, one has to find out the 3 strains and the 3 curvature about the midplane or the midplane surface of a laminate. Now from the current slide, we may have the feel of stacking sequences of different plies, how they have been designated or how they have been far away from mid plane. So this I had shown in the current slide. If you are able to see, there is a midline, and which is called, which is being called as the mid plane, and the top surface of a laminate is having a distance of small h by 2, and similarly the bottom surface for n number of lamina, this is also having h by 2. And if we consider the top surface of first lamina, then it is having a distance of h naught. And similarly, if we emphasis on the n number of ply, then it could have hn as the distance from mid plane. These distances afterwards play a vital role, because through these distances we are going to establish a correlation in between the stresses, moments and the forces, and these three are responsible to obtain the results for strains and the curvatures. So once again I reiterate the thing, what is our objective by doing all this exercise? We have to find out the strains and the curvatures about the midplane of a certain composite after experiencing an amount of stress. Now in connection to the previous slide, which was tells us the about the stacking sequence, the sum of the total heights we may have as the summation of k equals to summation of thicknesses, and it varies from k equals to 1 to n, and ek which is representing the thickness. And the location of the midplane, as I had shown you, I had discussed in the previous slide in which stacking sequence was there. Midplane is h by 2 from the top or the bottom surface of the laminate, and the z coordinate of each ply, k surface, top and bottom, is given by the following formula. And now for the ply 1, h naught equals to minus h by 2 for the top surface. So this is the sign convention, nothing else. And finally we may have the h naught equals to minus h by 2 for top surface. And if we see the h1 does mean the distance of first ply or the bottom distance of first ply from the midplane. Bottom distance of first ply from the midplane. You can see from the previous slide. And finally, h1 becomes minus h by 2 plus t1, and this is for the bottom surface. Now for ply k equals to it varies from 2, 3 up to n minus 1. Now for ply k minus 1, k minus 1 equals to minus h by 2 plus summation from 1 to k minus 1 and small t, and small t is the top surface, and likewise we may have the relation in between hk minus 1 and the bottom surface in the following formula. Now hk equals to minus h by 2, and summation from 1 to k small t. This is for the bottom surface. Easily you can distinguish, the differences in between the top surface and the bottom surface. If k minus 1 is there, then you can easily see from the figure which I had discussed in the previous slide that the summation goes from 1 to k minus 1 for the top surface, and for the kth ply or the kth surface, kth ply bottom surface, it would be summation from 1 to k for the same thickness. Now for the ply n, hn minus 1 equals to h by 2 minus tn for the top surface. And similarly, we may have this thickness, nth ply thickness for the bottom surface, concerned to the bottom surface, as h by 2. This is the bottommost. Now, as far as the stresses are concerned, or these may be called as the global stresses. Global stresses does mean we are generalizing the stresses for each lamina, and in generalizing process, one must have to consider the forces at x-axis or the xy plane, force per unit length at xy plane, and similarly yz and the zx plane. So these all we have to consider as far as the global stresses are concerned. So in this current formula, the resultant force per unit length for through the laminate thickness, this is important, through the laminate thickness. If you remember the figure for the stacking sequence, in that the final minus h by 2 or the thickness of laminate will vary from minus h by 2 to h by 2. So that's why this force per unit length, resultant force per unit length nx becomes integration minus h by 2 and sigma x dz. Sigma x is the corresponding stress for this force per unit length. Now again for ny, this is again integration minus h by 2 to h by 2, and corresponding stress is there in the same plane, sigma y dz. And now for the shear plane, which is having 1-2 direction, so that's why this xy plane came into the existence, and nxy once again corresponds to the thickness, varies from minus h by 2 and this is for the entire laminate, and tau xy because we are considering the shear in this case, and dz. So these three are the corresponding forces per unit length in the xy plane throughout the laminate thickness. Similarly, as we discussed in the previous slides, we have to integrate the global stresses. Global stresses, I want to reiterate here, sigma x, sigma y and tau xy. So these are being called as the global stresses. Now these global stresses, once again we have to correlate with the resulting moments per unit length, and similarly in the xy plane, and for the thickness minus h by 2 to h by 2, laminate thickness minus h by 2 to h by 2. So with the help of this discussion, this moment per unit length becomes integration from minus h by 2 to h by 2 and sigma x z dz. So z dz does mean it, we have considered the curvature in the direction of x, curvature for the x moment per unit length. And here we can see easily this curvature is free from axis movement. Similarly, my equals to minus h by 2 to h by 2 and sigma y z dz, and sigma y is the corresponding global stress for this my. And similarly, for the corresponding shear stress in the plane 1 2 mxy, 1 2 is the local plane, and if these local planes will be converted into the global, then they will be abbreviated by xy and combinedly for shear stress as mxy. So mxy equals to once again minus h by 2 to h by 2 and tau xy z dz. Once again, the abbreviation will remain same as we discussed for the forces per unit length in the xy plane through the laminate thickness. So finally, these formulas will give us an opportunity to have relationship in between the forces and the moments which are considered as about xy plane for the entire laminate thickness varies from minus h by 2 to h by 2. Once again, I reiterate what is our objective and motto. Our objective is to calculate the strains in various directions like epsilon x, epsilon y, and the tau xy and the epsilon gamma xy, and the corresponding curvatures about the midplanes kappa x, kappa y, kappa xy. So these six are the unknowns, and to identify these unknowns, obviously one must have the six equations. So in order to obtain the six equations, all these this exercise has to be done by a composite designer. Now, where Nx and Ny are the normal forces per unit length, Nxy is the shear force per unit length, and corresponds to the these shear forces and the normal forces. Mx and My are the bending moments per unit length, and Mxy is the twisting moments per unit length. So these are the different abbreviations or the notations which we are going to use. So now onwards, we have to make a correlation in between the forces, movements with the different stresses. Just like this, Nx, Ny, and Nxy. So whatever discussion have been made in the previous slides, now we have to transform into the matrix. Nx, Ny, Nxy equals to minus h by 2 to h by 2, and sigma x, sigma y, and tau xy and dz. And similarly, the movement equation can be transformed into the matrix mx, my, mxy, and this would have been multiplied by z dz. Now the equation which have been discussed in the previous slide can be transformed into the generalized form like this nx, ny, and nxy, and here the summation is from hk minus 1 to hk, and the ply varies from 1 to n, k equals to 1 to n. And once again, from the ply variation 1 to n, we may have the moment matrix equation in the generalized form. This is mx, my, mxy, and this would have been multiplied by z dz. Now this current equation will give us the forces and the mid-plane strains and the curvatures. So nx, ny, nxy, and this reduced matrix is being introduced, q11, q12, and this we had discussed in the yesterday's lecture, and which came from module 1, and how this is going to be used in numericals. This I will tell you in the later discussion. And once again, the later portion of the equation, which we have already discussed, and let me remind that equation, which was of epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon xy, gamma xy equals to epsilon naught x, epsilon naught y, and gamma naught xy, and plus summation of this curvature z, kappa x, kappa y, and kappa xy. So in that formula, we have introduced these stiffness, Q11 and Q12 and Q16 matrices. Now combining the forces and stresses like this, Nx, Ny, and Xy equals to minus h by 2 to h by 2, and these are the different stresses. And in the generalized form, this would be vary from 1 to n, k equals to 1 to n, and for the k minus 1 thickness to k minus 1 stands for the bottom surface of a lamina, and k stands for the top surface of a lamina. Now this can be correlated with the reduced stiffness matrices with the Q, as discussed above, and finally this would have been multiplied by the original positions of strains, original strains which have been considered through the original plane without having a curvature. And similarly, we may have the other part of this with the curvatures, with the consideration of curvature. Now these are the few integrating terms which are to be used for making an equation which will give us the correlation in between the forces, moments, and the stresses in order to find out the strains and the curvatures. So hk minus 1 to hk, this should be integrated, and dz equals to hk minus 1. Now we may obtain the second equation by integrating the first equation with respect to z. So it becomes z dz equals to 1 by 2, and hk square minus h square k minus 1 for the bottom surface and for the top surface, hk minus 1 and hk. So this we have to consider, or we have to keep in mind always, that hk and hk minus 1, these are representing the different surfaces of a lamina. It means bottom and the top. In the similar fashion, we may have the another integrated terms, right, by integrating the above equation z dz. So z square dz and 1 by 3 hk cube minus k minus 1 cube. Now we may have the final equation for force and movement. So force equation finally comes out nx, ny, and nxy, and this is the A matrix, and this corresponds to epsilon x0, epsilon y0, and gamma 0 xy. Again, I am emphasizing the same equation which we had used for the final strains at certain curvature. So that was epsilon x, epsilon y, and gamma xy equals to epsilon x0, epsilon y0, gamma 0 xy, and plus followed by kappa. So the same equation is coming here, and but it is in the form of force, and A matrix and the B matrix is being introduced with the help of integrated terms which have been discussed in the previous slides. Now, here I want to discuss these A terms and B terms, and we can see the D terms. So these are, correlated with Q matrix. Q matrix, it means the reduced stiffness matrix, and reduced stiffness matrix, if you remember, is coming from, module 1, as I had discussed in the yesterday's class, how it has to be import from there. So these terms we will redefine in the numericals also, how A11 numerically has to calculate, how B matrix numerically has to calculate, and finally the D matrix has to be calculated. So these all, terms, B terms, and the D terms will be calculated with the help of reduced stiffness matrix. So finally, the force moment equation we may have in the matrix form mx, my, mxy, and one D11, D12 is also being introduced. So physically, what does it mean? What do you mean by A matrix, B matrix, and the D matrix? I'll discuss in the later slide. So here, as I had discussed in the previous slide, A matrix, B matrix, and D matrix. Now A matrix can be defined in the terms of reduced stiffness matrix Q, likewise, and these have been correlated with the thicknesses for the bottom surface and the top surface of a lamina, which is being included in the laminate. And I varies from this I 1 to 6, and J varies from 1 to 6. So likewise, we may have the following Bij and the Dij matrix. This I am going to discuss. And similarly, Bij is 1 by 2, and it is being correlated with the Qij matrix, followed by thicknesses from the bottom and the top surfaces of the lamina. Similarly, the D matrix will be correlated with Qij and a different thicknesses of a lamina. So after assembling, all the A, B, D matrices for the force per unit length and the moments per unit length in terms of, the strains and the curvatures. Strains represented by epsilon, and the curvature by kappa. So the fully populated matrix, will be described as follows. Like nx, ny, nxy, and mx, my, and mxy, and A, B, B, D matrix is there. So A, B, and D matrices are being called as extensional. A is extensional matrix, B is the coupling matrix, and D is the bending stiffness matrix. So A is extensional matrix, which is responsible to take up the stresses, and the D matrix is for the flexural calculations. So finally, these two matrices have been coupled with the help of this coupling matrix capital B. So likewise, this fully populated matrix we may have, and with the help of this 6 cross 6 matrix, we are able to generate 6 equations in order to calculate the 6 well said unknown quantities. And these well said unknown quantities are, I'm reiterating again, epsilon x0, epsilon y0, gamma 0xy, kappa x, kappa y, and kappa xy. So this is the equation which is responsible for the calculation of these 6 said unknowns. Once again, I am emphasizing on A, B, B, D matrix. A is being called as extensional, which is responsible for taking up the load for the stresses, or for the knowns of known values of stresses, and B is the coupling matrix, and D is the matrix which is responsible for the bending stiffnesses or the the flexural properties of a laminate. So similarly, as I discussed in the previous slide, A represents the resultant in plane forces and responsible for taking up the stress loads and the strains. And the D matrix is for the bending and the flexural properties. And the B matrix is used for, as a coupling matrix for the force and the moment terms in order to calculate the strains and the mid-plane curvatures. Now we will have to follow the steps in order to solve the numerical. Number one, find the value of the reduced stiffness matrix Q for each ply using its four elastic moduli E1, E2, nu12 and G12, as these values have already been obtained in module 1. So first of all, it is required to solve one numerical which we had already solved in module 1. So before starting the analysis of laminates, macro mechanical analysis of laminates, first we will solve a numerical on micro mechanical analysis of a laminate. Thereafter, as a step second, we have to find the value of reduced stiffness matrix, transformed reduced stiffness matrix Q bar, and for each ply this has to be calculated, and that this Q value we will have carry for from the step 1, and the angle of ply to be obtained as from the module 1. So there is an angle of ply, material and the epoxy will be given to us, and we will have to obtain the transformed reduced matrix and the Q matrix for each and every ply. Now in the step 3, we will have to calculate the thicknesses for the top and the bottom surface of a lamina, and with the help of these thicknesses, we have to find out the engineering constant values for different lamina or the plies, and keeping into consideration their top and bottom surfaces. Now using the Q bar matrix which we had already obtained in step 2, and the location of each ply, location in the terms of different thicknesses for their top and bottom surfaces, we have to find out the three stiffness matrices A, B and D, and these we can have for different stiffness matrices. Now, in the same context, we have to find out the forces and moments with the help of these stiffness matrices values which have been obtained in the previous step number 4. Now with the help of developed forces and moments equation with the help of different stiffness matrix values, we will have 6 simultaneous equations, and these 6 simultaneous equations are used to find out the curvatures, 3 curvatures and the 3 corresponding strains. Now finally, with the help of these local strain values, that has to be converted into the global strain for each ply by using the above equations and the values which have been obtained for different strains and the different curvatures have been which have been considered from the mid plane surface. Now, with the help of the steps discussed in the previous slides, we will have to solve one numerical in which we have to find out A, B and D matrices for 3 ply, 0, 35 and minus 45. So these are the angles of ply, and these plies are located at 0 degree to the mid surface plane, 30 degree and the minus 45 degrees. And the graphite epoxy laminate is there. So this is required to, given that which type of material is going to be used in order to fabricate this, composite. So graphite and epoxy laminate is there. With the help of graphite and epoxy laminate, and we have to use unidirectional properties, and which are to be taken out from table number 2.1. This the same table we had used in the above the previous numericals which we had solved in module 2 as well. And the thickness of the each lamina is being considered as 5 mm. So uniform thickness for each lamina has been provided over here, and later on we'll see how the different thickness lamina can be provided in order to fabricate a laminate. So now we'll solve this numerical. Now, from example of module 1, first we have to solve the reduced stiffness matrix for 0 degree graphite epoxy, and obviously for 30 degree and minus 45 degrees. So such a Q matrix has to be obtained for all 3 different degrees plies, and which are involved with graphite epoxy laminate. So we'll see this numerical from module 1. So this Q is to be used in the macromechanical analysis of a laminate, but it has to be obtained from macromechanical analysis of a lamina, because right now we are considering 0 degree, and this is one lamina, other lamina with an angle of minus 30 degree, and the third one is of minus 45 degree. So these are the lamina for which each and every ply or the lamina we have to obtain this Q matrix, and after that they will assemble together in order to have the perfect theoretical analysis of this graphite epoxy laminate. Now, in order to develop this Q matrix for the macromechanical analysis of laminate, we'll solve this through module number 1, and in that the same numerical for the calculation of Q matrix is herewith. For a graphite epoxy unidirectional lamina, we have to find out the compliance matrix, minor Poisson's ratio, reduced stiffness matrix, and strains in the 1-2 coordinate system if the applied stresses which have been shown in the next slide, and the given quantities sigma 1 and sigma 2, and the in plane shear stress 1-2, that is 4 megapascal. Now we'll have to use the different unidirectional properties for this graphite epoxy lamina, which had been given in the table number 2.1. Now from this table we have to taken out the values of E1, E2, Nu12 and G12, and the material is once again a graphite epoxy. Now, this is the figure in which illustration will be given for the different stresses directions, like sigma 1 is in the longitudinal direction, and in this direction E1 has to be calculated, and similarly sigma 2 is the transverse direction for which E2 has to be obtained, and similarly tau 1 2, and also the corresponding elements like S11 S12 and so on so forth. Now from table number 2.1, the engineering constants of unidirectional epoxy lamina are to be taken out, like E1 equals to 181 GPa. Transverse direction E2 is 10.3 GPa. In plane Poisson's ratio, or the major Poisson ratio, is nu12 equals to 0.28. Similarly, in plane shear stress, in plane does mean 1-2 plane, G12 equals to 7.17 GPa. Now, if you remember the discussion for the module 2, which I used as a prerequisite for this module 3, S11 equals to 1 over E1. So this would be calculated as S11 equals to 0.5525. Yes. Similarly, if you remember the formula for S12, that is the ratio of nu12 to the E1. And this will be calculated as S12 equals to minus 0.1547. Now S22 in the transverse direction, and this is correlated with capital E2. So S22 equals to 1 over E2. And similarly, this will be calculated as S22 equals to 0.9709. Now similarly, S66 equal to 1 over G12. S66 is dedicatedly for in plane shear stress. So similarly, this will be calculated as S66 equal to 0.1395. Now, as the part B, we have to calculate the minor Poisson's ratio, and we have to consider the reciprocal relationship in between the minor Poisson ratio and the major Poisson's ratio, as nu12 divided by E1 equals to nu21 divided by E2. From this, we are able to calculate the minor Poisson's ratio, that is nu21. So henceforth, nu21 equals to 0.01593. Now, as the part C, we have to use the following equations in order to find out the different element of reduced stiffness matrix, that is capital Q, and obviously the different stiffness coefficients as Qij, and for this Q11 equals to E1 divided by 1 minus nu21 into nu12. If you want to have this formulation of Q11, then you may refer the notes of module 2, and I will also going to provide one PDF for the same module number 1. So likewise, Q11 can be calculated as 181.8 into 10 raised to the power 9 Pascal, and the same value is to be used in order to have the macro mechanical analysis of a laminate. So this will be a first, stiffness constant coefficient, and from this we will have to construct a, matrix, stiffness matrix finally. Now similarly, Q12 equals to nu 12 E2 divided by 1 minus nu 21 and nu 12. And Q12 will be calculated as 2.897 into 10 to the power 9 Pascal. Now the stiffness coefficients have to consider for either direction, that is the transverse direction. Q22 equals to E2 divided by 1 minus nu 21 into nu 12. So this is for the transverse direction, stiffness coefficients for the transverse direction. Earlier we were dealing with the longitudinal direction, in which Q11 and Q12 were calculated, and now this Q22 has to be calculated for the transverse direction. Now similarly, Q22 equals to 10.35 into 10 to the power 9 Pascal. Similarly, we may calculate the stiffness coefficient corresponds to in plane shear stress G12, and that is 7.17 into 10 to the power 9 Pascal. The reduced stiffness matrix Q could also be obtained by inverting the compliance matrix, that is capital S, and directly if we may invert this matrix, then Q matrix we will have. Q matrix does mean stiffness matrix, reduced stiffness matrix. So in this fashion we may have the final compliance matrix, which is the same as obtained in the previous slide, with the help of different elements Q11, Q12, Q22 and Q66. So these are the complementary to each other. We may calculate this same reduced stiffness matrix by taking the inversion of compliance matrix. Now similarly, if we calculate the part D, in which strains in the 1-2 coordinate system with the help of applied stresses has to be calculated, then the same matrix we have to use as discussed in the module 1, that is for the different strains, and that has to be multiplied by the S11, S12 or the compliance matrix, and finally multiplied by the corresponding stresses in first direction, transverse direction, and the in plane shear stress direction 1, 2. So this will be calculated as by putting all the values of S11, S12 and S66. So likewise the strains in the different directions will be calculated with the help of this matrix. So finally we may have epsilon 1, epsilon 2 and gamma 1, 2. Now each and every part has been calculated in this numerical, and the reduced stiffness matrix, which is being abbreviated with the help of QIJ. So this QIJ matrix has to be used in order to calculate the radius of curvatures, different radius of curvatures, and the strains for the laminate calculations. So finally Q matrix will be used for the macromechanical analysis of a laminate, and these Q matrix we have to calculate similarly for the second ply, which is at an angle of 30 degree, and the third ply, which is at an angle of minus 45 degrees. Here we have used only the Q matrix for 0 degree. Now this angle parameter we have to introduce in order to calculate the Q matrix for 30 and minus 45 degree angles. So this we'll see later on.